3. The previous lecture, what we have understood is we have understood the importance of power factor improvement methods for linear loads using static capacitors, synchronous condensers, and phase advancers. Advantages and comparisons of static capacitors with the synchronous condenser we have seen, and when phase advances are going to be used also we have seen. So in this lecture we will be studying about what is the location or placement of capacitor bank. Okay, so where to place a capacitor bank to improve the power factor, so that we will be looking at. And second one is what are the different steps that are required to calculate the sizing of the capacitor bank. Then a simple case study with an example and some numerical problems. Okay, so this is the objectives of this lecture. Okay, so first and foremost is capacitor size and location. So we have to know where exactly the capacitor has to be placed. Okay, so generally we have seen in the previous lectures that the capacitor is placed nearer to the load. Okay, if you take a big power system, okay, loads are at all the times, loads are at different places, and sometimes it may not be possible to fine tune the location where exactly the capacitors has to be placed. So for that you have to run multiple number of load flow studies, okay, using Newton-Raphson method or Gauss-Seidel method or fast decoupled method. So you have to run numerous times of load flow studies, and then you have to choose the location of the capacitor and what is the size of the capacitor. So we'll be able to calculate the size of the capacitor in the next slides. Okay, so we have to find out using load flow studies. We'll be exactly knowing the most possible location for placement of the capacitor. The other method of placing the capacitors is pre-selected locations. So you are going to see that we have slack bus, okay, we have generator bus, we have load bus. So already those buses we are going to select, okay, and based on pre-selected locations. So primarily we will decide these are the locations we are going to place the capacitor. So based on pre-selection of locations, so we are going to run the optimal power flow program so that we can optimally size the capacitor. And third one is genetic algorithm. Okay, so this is one of the famous optimization technique which is based on the theory of natural selection. So that means you are going to select the next immediate chromosomes and fittest of all the chromosomes, which are the best fit chromosomes are going to be considered, and based on that you are going to run the process. Okay, so in that way we are going to place the capacitor placement by using genetic algorithm. So these things and all will be dealt in your power systems and load flow analysis. So at that particular point of time, these genetic algorithm, power flow methods are all discussed over there. Okay, so as far as our discussion is concerned, we are not bothered about these power flow algorithms. So there are 4 steps that are to be calculated to decide the capacitor bank sizing. The first and foremost step is you should know what is the total connected load. Okay, you have to calculate the total connected load. Then step 2 includes you have to choose a power factor value. So up to how much you want to improve the existing power factor to the new value. Okay, based on that only you are going to decide what is the value of capacitor that is required for us to achieve that power factor. So first of all you have to calculate the total load that is available. Then second one is you have to choose a desired power factor value, and third one you are going to calculate the capacitor bank size. Based on the desired power factor value, you have a formula to calculate the capacitor bank size, and after calculating the capacitor bank size, there are industry standards. Okay, suppose you have calculated a capacitor bank size of something around 230 or 220 kVAr, 230 kVAr, like that. Suppose you have got a practical value after our calculation. But the availability of capacitor may be in the range of 200 kVAR or 250 kVAR, like that. So the manufacturers will be manufacturing the capacitors in that parameters. Okay, so 275 there may be option, 300, so like that, 320. So that in between values they may not be possible. So they may be manufacturing like 200, 250, 300, 350, 150, like that they might be manufactured. So you should choose upon all, if and all the value you have achieved is 220 or 210, like that. So you should choose a value of higher value of capacitors rather than the lesser value. Suppose you have got the value of 210 or 220, don't choose the 200 kVAR capacitor, you have to choose 250 kVAR capacitor. Okay, so that is what the step 4, select suitable capacitor bank as per manufacturer standards. Okay, now general residential loads, most of the times what are the residential loads that are available will be a motor for a for pump water tank, lifting of water tanks, and lifting water to the water tanks. So for that purpose generally you require a motor. Then definitely you will have some fan load, from lighting load, or even AC load. So these are the common loads that are available in industry, in a residential load. Okay, so these are the loads that are available for a residential load. Now, because the power factor improvement in case of residential loads, generally what we will be doing is we will be using energy efficient equipment. We are not going to put any capacitor bank or something like that. In case of residential loads, we will be generally trying to improve the power factor by using energy efficient equipment. Okay, suppose here CFL bulb is there. Now I am going to replace the CFL bulb with LEDs. Okay, then this ordinary fans are there, so I am going to replace these ordinary fans with energy efficient fans which uses BLDC motors in here. Then air conditioners also, in case of ACs also I am trying to change this 1-star 2-star air conditioners into 5-star air conditioners, also inverter based model of air conditioners. Okay, then this all this even the motor, the traditional motor is also going to be replaced with energy efficient motor. Okay, so that is how I am going to improve the power factor in case of residential load. So, but in case of commercial loads, okay, so we have to incorporate the capacitor bank. Okay, we are taking a case study to know calculate the kVAR for a commercial load. So first step 1 is to calculate the total connected load. That is the step 1. I am going to calculate the total connected load. So here I have taken an example of a hotel. Okay, so in case of hotel, generally lighting load will be there, plumbing load, water load will be there, then you will have lifts and elevator load will be there. Okay, some AC, air conditioning, HVAC load will be there. So these are the raw power load will be there. So these are the different types of loads that are available in a general hotel. So I have taken some illustration, hotel illustration. So I am giving some random values to each of the types of the loads. Okay, so lighting load we are assuming as 50 kilowatt. Then raw power load we are assuming as 150 kilowatt. HVAC load we are assuming as 150 kilowatt again. Plumbing load 100 kilowatt. Elevator or lift load 50 kilowatt. Okay, so now these are the total connected loads. So 50 plus 150, so 200 plus 150, 350 plus 100, 450 plus 50, so 500. So the total connected load is going to be 500 kilowatt. Okay, so this is the total connected load in case of a hotel. So step 1 we have done, we are able to calculate the total connected load. So what is step 2? Step 2 is to choose a desired power factor. Okay, select a desired power factor. Okay, so generally the power factor should be greater than 0.8. Okay, so you have to choose a power factor whose value is greater than 0.8. Okay, so why? Because in general we assume that 0.8 is the base value of power factor that will be fed with. Okay, so we want, because even though 0.8 we are sending because of the lagging load availability, so losses power factor is becoming lower value, so we have to improve that value. So that is why you have to choose a value in generally between 0.9 to 0.99. Okay, so 1 is the maximum value, so I have taken 0.99 is the range up to which I can choose the desired power factor value. So I am considering this 0.99 as the desired power factor for me. Okay, now the formula for calculating the kVAR is P, which is measured in kilowatts, so into tan of cos inverse of power factor 1 minus cos inverse of power factor 2. So this is the formula for calculating the kVAR required. Okay, so P is in kilowatt, so kilowatt comes in the first step 1, we have got kilowatt, so where total connected load we have measured, then cos inverse of power factor 1, so power factor 1 is 0.8 and power factor 2 is nothing but the desired value of the power factor which you have chosen. Okay, so now you should calculate the capacitor bank using the formula. So in the formula I am going to apply total connected load 500 kilowatt, power factor 1 is 0.8, power factor 2 is 0.99, and I am calculating cos inverse of 0.8, which is 36.86 degree, and cos inverse of 0.99, so 8.10 degree. So I am substituting these values in the formula. So kVAR required, kVAR is equal to P into P is in kilowatt and the tan of cos inverse of power factor 1 minus cos inverse of power factor 2. So P is 500 kilowatt. So cos inverse of PF1 power factor 1 we have got 36.86. So tan 36.86 minus, so tan will be applied for both here, so and minus tan 8.10, so that is going to give me the value 300. Okay, so 300 kVAR is the required value of kVAR to improve the power factor from 0.8 to 0.9. So I have chosen the desired value of power factor, so by applying 300 kVAR, so this is the kVAR rating of the capacitor that is required to improve the power factor to the desired value. So I have to use 300 kVAR for this hotel to improve its power factor. Okay, so now according to the manufacturer's sheet, okay, so if 300 kVAR is available, then I will be selecting the 300 kVAR. So here we have got, there is no problem, we have got a 300 kVAR value, so there is no problem here. Straight away 300 kVAR will be available at the manufacturer, you can purchase that, or 300 kVAR, so you can use 300 kVAR also if you want to form a capacitor bank. Okay, so in that condition it is possible, so to choose anything. Okay, so that is how we are going to calculate the kVAR required. Okay, now will be considering a problem. So if and all possible, you take this pen and paper and note down this problem and try to show me some answer, whatever the answer you get. Okay, so a 3-phase motor which is having 100 kilowatt real power operating at a power factor of 0.7. So we need to improve that power factor to 0.96. Okay, so we have to calculate the kVAR of the capacitor bank required. Okay, that is to be connected for achieving that power factor. Okay, so here everything is now clear to you. So power P is equal to 100 kilowatt they have given, and the cos phi initially PF1 is 0.7, so cos inverse of 0.7 you will calculate there, and second one, what is the power factor that is to be improved, so PF2 that is 0.96, so cos inverse of 0.96 you will calculate over there, and you have the formula 100 into tan of cos inverse of 0.7 minus cos inverse of 0.96. So once you calculate this thing, you will get the value of kVAR required. Okay, so hopefully I will give some 2 to 3 minutes of time, note down this problem and try to solve and give me some answer, whatever the answer you get. given data, power factor 1 0.7, power factor 2 0.96, and P is equal to 100 kilowatt. So required capacitor bank 100 into tan of cos inverse 0.7 minus cos inverse of 0.96, so which is nothing but 72.85 kVAr. So here is you have understand, okay, you have got the value 72.85 kVAr. So there is no such type of capacitor manufactured by the manufacturer, okay. So you have to choose 325 kVAr, so that means 75 is the nearest value, okay. So 325 kVAr capacitor bank can be connected across the panel for improving the power factor from 0.7 to 0.96, okay. So in this way we are going to calculate the kVAr required to improve the power factor. So this is your assignment question, okay. So you try to note down this and solve this assignment question. Okay, I hope you have taken down this problem. So 1500 kVA transformer. So we have not given here directly kilowatt. We have given you kVA. So industry is having 1500 kVA transformer, and the initial demand of the plant was 1160 kVA with a power factor of 0.7. Now, what is the value of kVAr that is required to improve the power factor to 0.89? Okay, the same problem earlier, but instead of kilowatt, here we are giving kVA, and you have to draw the impedance power triangle and represent the value. Okay, so I have already shown you what are impedance power triangle and what is impedance power triangle. So here they have asked you to draw impedance power triangle and determine the new kVA. Okay, instead of after improving what is the kVA. Okay, so try to solve this problem. If all you are facing any difficulty, we will discuss this in the next class. Okay, so coming to the summary of this lecture. Okay, so capacitor bank location and what are the steps that is required for calculation of the capacitor bank sizing, and a small case study and numerical problems we have seen. Okay, I will be moving on to the next topic, that we will be discussing what are the different power factor correction methods for linear loads. So here power factor correction methods are nothing but using of static capacitors, synchronous condensers and phase advancers. These are the power factor correction methods for linear loads, which we have already covered. Now in this we will be seeing power factor with the non-linear loads and what is the effect of harmonics on the power factor. Okay, power factor correction for linear loads and all we have seen. Okay, so as power factor decreases with installation of non-linear loads, I mean non-resistive loads. So induction motors, furnaces, transformers, lighting balance, etc. These are all lagging loads. So because of the installation of these things, your power factor starts decreasing. So for that purpose, what we are going to use? We are going to use capacitors for correcting them. Okay, so that was the case in case of linear loads. Now in case of non-linear loads, so generation of harmonics takes place. Okay, so third harmonic, fifth harmonic, so like that harmonics, seventh harmonic. So generation of harmonics takes place, and because of the harmonics there will be a distortion in the current waveform and as well as the voltage waveform. Okay, so the voltage waveform and current waveforms, basically they are in sinusoidal nature, so they get distorted because of the presence of the harmonics. So most usually the harmonics are caused because of the presence of computers, usage of computers, laser printers, then electronic ballast, refrigerators, TVs, SMPS, so etc. So these are the non-linear loads which cause harmonics. Okay, so that means presence of electronics. So harmonics actually entered into the power system because of the more usage of the electronic component. Okay, because of that harmonics have come into picture. So now we have to reduce these harmonics. Okay, so here I am showing you. So this is the fundamental component, the red line, which shows the fundamental sine wave. Okay, this is the fundamental component, and harmonic is also the same way, but it is going to be at the distortion level or different values. Okay, so here see, this is the white line which shows you the third harmonic component. Okay, then the blue line is shown as the fifth harmonic component, and the violet light line which is showing the value of the seventh harmonic component. So these are the different harmonic components available. So because of the presence of the harmonic components, the final resultant curve is going to be in this shape. This is the final resultant curve. So actually this should be like this, but because of the presence of the harmonics, our voltage waveform or current waveform will be going to be so operating like this. Okay, so this is the effect of harmonics with non-linear loads. Okay, so since this harmonics add a new dimension to the power triangle. Okay, so the apparent power, that is actual power to do some work. Okay, that is going to be varied with respect to the actual power triangle without harmonics. Okay, so now this active component of power is getting divided into two components. One is active power without harmonics, and one is active power with harmonics. Okay, so the power which is present with respect to with harmonics, we are calling it as total power factor. Okay, we are calling it as total power factor, where here you can see, so kilowatt divided by, this is the formula for this total power factor. So kilowatt divided by kilowatt square plus fundamental kVAR plus harmonic kVAR. Okay, so this is there here. And another component of power factor is displacement power factor, where there is no harmonic component of kVAR present. Okay, so the harmonic component of power factor is not contributed by the harmonics, is known as displacement power factor. Okay, so here we are not considering the kVAR that is due to harmonics. If we are not considering the kVAR without harmonics, then we are calling it as displacement power factor, and if we are going to consider harmonics, then we are calling it as total power factor. So power factor itself is now divided into two halves or two components, displacement power factor and total power factor. Okay, so the difference between these two readings, okay, is proportional to the degree of harmonics available in the distribution system. But they generally, the manufacturers will install some meters, but they are not going to specify whether the meter is going to display total power factor or displacement power factor. Okay, it is unclear. Okay? Generally, we will be requiring a power meter to calculate the power factor, but the manufacturers which provide this nonlinear equipment, okay, they will give only one specification, and they will be not mentioning whether it is going to measure total power factor or displacement power factor. So we will be considering how this power factor, displacement power factor and total power factor, if one is increased, if dpf is increased, what happens, or if dpf is equal to tpf, what happens, and if dpf less than tpf, what happens. Okay, so when total pf tpf or total power factor is equal to displacement power factor, okay, so simple capacitance is enough to compensate the kVAR correction. Okay, so generally this holds good at linear loads. Okay, in case of non-linear loads, so dominantly non-linear loads, so which means power factor, total power factor is less than displacement power factor. Okay, so here in case of this condition, power factor less than dpf, so you have to use line reactors. Okay, to reduce the harmonic currents. Okay, so that is required in case of predominantly non-linear systems. And third systems, when kVAR capacitor are already installed, okay, and dpf can actually get overcorrected and cause the current to lead the voltage. Okay, so in case if it is very high, so that means kVAR capacitor already installed there in case 3, and it causes the current to lead. Okay, so these are the three cases, so where TPF and DPF are going to be considered. Okay, so on the whole, with this we have discussed the power factor correction for linear loads and non-linear loads, and the effects of harmonics on the power factor. Okay, so here I am trying to put some 2-3 quiz questions so that we will be completing this lecture. So in a highly capacitive circuit, the actual power will be always highly capacitive circuit. The actual power will be always equal to apparent power, larger than reactive power, lesser than reactive power, equal to reactive power. In a highly capacitive circuit. Any answer, any message? Okay, so it will be always lesser than the reactive power. Okay, so you know Ferrand effect you have studied. Okay, in case of when the circuit is highly capacitive. Okay, so voltage, the receiving and the sending end voltage is much greater than the sending end voltage. So that means the actual power starts getting decreased. Okay. Number 2, which of the following device has the least or poor power factor? I think we will answer this question. Computers, electric furnace, synchronous motor, filament bulb. Which of the following devices has poor power factor? As we already seen that computers are non-linear loads. Furnace, electric furnace also lagging power factor load. Filament bulb here. Okay, filament bulb is a filament is made up of resistance. Okay. poor power factor load. Yes, it is electric furnace. Okay. So electric furnace is the answer. Good. So with this, we have come to the conclusion. So the first part of unit 3, as we have divided, so power factor, methods of improving the power factor, and the location of the capacitors, then power factor with non-linear loads, the effect of harmonics on power factor, and some numerical problems on the sizing of capacitor we have seen. Okay, so with this part of unit 3, and that means one half of unit 3 is completed.